welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Canal. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Down through the Mercedes teammate.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Giro countdown, Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Y'all know what, beer?
Okay, hang on. 5, 4. I know it's on the blank screen. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. I'll talk first, and then you can come in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along. We've got another round of PSGL action here in F3 here tonight. My name is not Corey Brooks, as will be your regular commentator. My name is Joseph Black, aka Cottcast, and alongside me tonight is your regular commentator. It is Omi. Good evening, Omi. How excited are we to get going here tonight? Oh, it's such a good circuit. It's one of my favourite circuits, at least to race at, if not to spectate. But it's just, yeah, it's just such an incredible time with any sort of consumption of the Brazilian Grand Prix, actually. I might be able to bring up a track map in the meantime while we get into the lobby. So this is the Brazilian Grand Prix circuit. Just having a look now. It's 4.309 kilometers. It's 2.677 miles, and it's 15 corners worth of pretty much flat out action. You got 2 DRS zones, one down the main straight, one after the Senna S's as you head down to Descida de Largo. Lots of elevation changes as well, heading up to turn 14 and heading down from the Senna S's right at the start. Yeah, one of the best circuits on the calendar, and well, our drivers will be going there tonight.
Campaign, of course, will also be going to Spa next time out for round 3. So some exciting races in what is a short calendar from what we usually see here at PSGL.
Yeah, apologies, by the way. I did have Omi muted on this screen, but I am now in the lobby, and I will be bringing you the action as soon as I possibly can, and as soon as I can sort out what on earth is going on with F1 tonight. I'm not having the best of times. I hear as well that you didn't have the best of times last time out. So, well, if we can get the race underway as quickly as we possibly can, that would be wonderful. Obviously, qualifying will come first, and we'll be able to bring you the... Whoa, don't know what's happening there. We'll be able to bring you the action right about now. Never mind, it's a blank screen for the stream. I'm hoping, Omi, it's a little bit better for you, so maybe we can do some audio commentary as we head through now to... Well, we've got 13 minutes left of commentary. Tony Hitala currently sits on pole position. Campbell Adams in P2. Tudor Pressacan in P3. Lighty, Felipe Salsa, and Abuba in 4th, 5th, and 6th with Leonardo Tonelato, Ryan Grob, Wojtek Steg, Jakub Resut, and Alexei Cavero. Then Valentino Labea, Tyus Korsman, Linus Donovan, Alexander Dimas, Justin Etz, Jerry Van Bussel, Oleg Napadovsky, and then Thomas Lamin. And down the bottom with Marcel Biega has jumped up into P8.
Yes, absolutely. So the first runs have come in this qualifying session. They'll all be preparing. They'll all be getting ready for what will be the next run, run 2. Very critical if you are going to have an invalidation when it comes to the third and final run. So a lot goes in towards this first part of qualifying and getting a good banker lap. Then you have something to build upon. That's what the drivers have just done. They're now going to be heading into a second run and then hoping for an absolutely amazing final run as well. Quickly would like to apologize for all of the little issues that we are having with the stream. That's why I'm currently talking. I'm just letting Joseph just sort out everything for you. So just bringing you a bit of radio comms at this stage of the session before we get issues sorted. But yes, really do apologize, especially of course as we also had technical issues last week. I'm excited to tell you though Corey was able to find the little issue and we'll be able to get it back working for you next time out in the third round when he'll be back. And of course once Joseph sorts out the issues today, then we'll also be able to bring you a proper stream. But just to get that out of the way, we are aware that you are currently taking a look at what is not going on around the circuit.
Yeah, as Omi said, I'll echo that sentiment. Apologies at the moment for what's going on. I genuinely have no clue what this problem is. So the sooner I can sort this out, the better. But hey, well, PSGL action. We're just being teased at the moment with some of it, and we should be looking at it now. Fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. We've got a temporary fix to the problem. And, well, it appears as though we've got drivers on their second runs, drivers starting their second runs. And Tony Hietala still sitting atop the standings. He is starting on his lap now. His second run, as you mentioned, also crucial to get those runs in. And his second run has begun. What's even going on anymore? Why has it done that?
Well, nothing ever goes to plan usually, but at least it does tell you that we are live. And yes, it's all happening at the moment with all of the technical issues. Apologies once again. We can only apologize for this. But as the chat has pointed out, Tony Hietala at the front, Dimas in second. Hietala trying to carry on the pace that he showed in the first race. He finished. He found himself second on the road to Pressakan originally, who's just gone quickest, but Pressakan was given penalties to go from first all the way down to 11th position, and it means that Hietala was the winner, and a really deserved win as well. Of course, while Pressakan did get the penalty and Pressakan did finish ahead on the road, we do have to mention the pace that Hietala showed in the qualifying session to be nearly 3/10 ahead. I remember about this time last season, we were all mentioning about how impressive it was from Gabriel Quintino to do that at the Albert Park circuit to take pole by nearly 3/10. And we've seen a repeat from Tony Hietala, who did put in a lot of practice, we have to say, for last week.
Yeah, I mean, practice makes perfect is always the case. And at the moment, Tony Hietala up the top of the standings. That practice is clearly paying off. He's 5 thousandths behind Tudor Pressakan in second place now. We will continue through this session. We've got just over 9 minutes left. And we've got another competitor up there, Booba, going up into fourth place with a 1 minute 6.5. Looking at some of the other drivers in this field, Lighty's not improving. Where can Napadovsky go if he's on a push lap? We didn't see his split time, and the Haas will come up to the line or into the pits. One of the two, as that's his teammate Valentino Labella here tonight. He jumps up into 8th place. This is Voyet Steg heading around the final couple of corners. Tyus Korsman comes in. There's yellow flags out for an Aston Martin. So that will be Tony Hietala in the final sector. But Tony Hietala up to the line. He takes that provisional pole position. He will snatch it back. And he is the first driver into the 1 minute 6.3s. Chat is about to go crazy when they catch up to the action. But that is Tony Hietala on that pole position. Everybody coming into the pits, preparing for those final runs. Can anyone topple Hietala?
That will be the question, indeed, Joseph, when we head into the final run of this qualifying session. Hitala currently looking at 1 point for pole position, and he has a 1 minute 6.392. That is getting him there at this current time, but still laps to come. Dimas currently on an out lap. Laminin also pushing on as well, and we will be looking to push on. We are currently looking though at the driver in 20th position, a couple of seconds off. That is not a proper lap set by him earlier on. He'll be looking to change that and get in the mix, so keep an eye to see what he will be able to manage as he rotates the car and is coming to the end of the lap.
Yeah, Jerry Van Bussel up to the end of the lap, improving only just. So really struggling to find the pace at the moment, although he could have lost it all in that final sector. And so he could be flying up the order as he heads to the straight. No, he is going to continue on. I thought he was going to come into the pits there, but Jerry Van Bussel with a 1 minute 9.636. He's got to find 3 seconds to at least be competitive in this session, as that is resetted. Apologies for the pronunciation there. I will be Google translating it. In the break between the qualifying and the race, reminder that there will be a break in between qualifying and the race, and hopefully I can try to sort these technical issues once and for all. Thomas Laminen, the second driver into the 106.3s, 1,000th behind Tony Hietala, and this grid is oh so close. Alexander Dimas heading through sector number 2, looking at some of the drivers that are starting to close or open their chapters, their third laps, their third push laps in this qualifying session. Ryan Grob is heading around the final couple of corners. We've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. The countdown is on. They've got 2 more laps times to be putting in, and Ryan Grob looks to be getting into the mixer here with a 1 minute 6.768. Not quite improving. Also, it's oh so close up and down the field, with 7th down to 17th, split by just 0.2.
Dimas going also to 3rd position as he sent it over the line, and there we go. There's the confirmation, up by 27 thousandths of a second that time around. Here is home hero Felipe Sales as he was pushing on his Tonelato now as he comes over the line for Ferrari, and it's a lap time that will get him in 9th. But as I was mentioning, Felipe Salza, home hero, coming into this round looking to also perform. And here is Oleg Napadovsky. He's in 4th. Tador Presakan to the line. What is he going to be able to do? Trying to bounce back after last week. Will bounce back to the front of the field. And he set a 1 minute 6.331 to get himself ahead of Hitala, who will get the right to reply because he is on his outlap.
Yeah, Tony Hietala, this is his moment to try to shine. I think, though, what he might be doing is, well, he's either going to go for a push lap now, go for a cool down lap, and then go for one more push, or he's going to be waiting for this one. This will be the cool down lap, or the cool up, the warm up lap, before he goes for a final push lap. He is improving, though, in that first sector, showing that he is pushing, and he's only improving by 5 thousandths of a second. 5 thousandths of a second, though, is enough to get up ahead of Tudor Presakan, or it will be if he continues that momentum, to get up ahead of Tudor Presakan. That's more than the difference. It's 5 times the difference between himself and Thomas Laminen now as he heads through Sector 2. Sector 3 will beckon in a couple of moments' time. Sector 3 only having 1 braking zone, so it's really where you find the time in Sector 2. Hietala has found just under a 10th, and it is a purple second sector for the FVR man. For the Aston Martin, as he's going to come up now around the final corner. DRS will open there, and he's going to come across the line. Is this going to be pole position? Indeed it is. 1 minute 06.315, and he's gone just 15 thousandths quicker than Tudor Presakan in second place. Valentino Labea, by the way, he's in 4th as he's improved upon his lap. Campbell Adams around the final corner. He is improving by half a tenth, and well, he's not very happy with it because he's going to come into the pits. There's just under 4 minutes left in the session, and we've still got plenty of work for a lot of the drivers to do. One of the drivers being Jerry Van Bussel. Don't know why he's on the hard compounded tyre, but he is. That explains the pace deficit and the Alpine. He, with his teammate now coming out of the pits, sits down in last place.
Absolutely. Jerry on the hards, that's exactly why he is massively off the pace, or he would be up there, at least with the drivers ahead. So he's just going out there on the hards, and then you'll look to see what he can manage when it comes to the race distance that we will run once we have our grid set, and also, of course, the lobby restart that comes with it. You're right now looking at the lead Kickstarter man, that's Lighty, as he comes into the pit lane. Alexander Dimas heading for an outlap, so it's Ryan Grob. Those are the first two drivers that are out onto the racetrack, and as you can see on board with Lighty, they're all going to be heading out, and this is the moment to deliver. This is where they have to find the time, because this will be their last opportunity. Invalidate will make a mistake, then you could find yourself vulnerable to the drivers behind, and we usually see a hyper few improvements when it comes to the end of this qualifying session every single week. So performing will be critical, and you can see they're all heading on their outlaps, and then we're going to get the business end of this session going to see who will claim the 1 point for pole.
Yes, 1 point for pole position. So it's highly contentious, and you've got all these drivers preparing for their final runs. You've got the likes of the man you're looking at, Ryan Grob. He is on his final run, though, and looking to improve. He's a quarter of a tenth up as he heads through the first sector, and that quarter of a tenth already gets him above Marcel Biega. If he can gain just another tenth or so, he will be in contention for those top 10 spots at the very minimum. As I mentioned earlier, Sector 2 is where you want to be finding that time. Everybody's on their outlap, apart from Lighty and Jakob Rosetets. Down at the bottom of the field, Ryan Grob up to the second sector split time. He's found a quarter of a second. This is huge for Ryan Grob if he can pull this one off. And he heads now around the final couple of corners. He should be ducking to the inside of that Alpine that's coming round the final corner. He is. Ryan Grob up to the line, and it's going to be a 106.546. So he's lost a bit of time in that final sector, but 11th place is still pretty decent, all things considered. Now looking back at Leonardo Tonelato, well, he's in the second sector, but he's not pushing. That is a Red Bull going past him of, well, who could that Red Bull be of? It could be of Tyres Korsman or of Felipe Sousa. Tyres Korsman in P13 and Sousa down in P14. They are both so close together. But the two main drivers up at the top, Tudor Pressacan and Tony Hietala, get their laps underway.
Absolutely. Here we go. This is the moment to deliver. Hitala through the center as he goes, lambing in with a lap. A 1 minute 6.298 as he gets himself into the mix. And now Hitala and Pressacan will absolutely need to respond. While they battle amongst themselves, they have another contender. We look at Valentino Labella. Hitala slightly down through the first sector, so he's not been able to execute the Setter S to perfection. Campbell Adams with the time. Absolutely incredible. Now we are seeing the big improvements with 4 seconds to go. Here is Valentino Labella trying to be one of them. He's dropped down to 6th after those lap times came in. It's Adams at the front, joined by Laminin right now in the front row. Labella not finding the improvement as it stands with the checkered flag out, and he was fighting the car on the exit of the last braking zone of this circuit.
Yeah, Labella is going to come up to the line, but he's not going to be happy with it. Coming into the pits, there will not be an improvement to find Wojciech Steg up to the line. He has not improved. Looking at Tony Hietala, he's not going to improve on his lap time. And Campbell Adams is on an in-lap. Alexander Dimas, won't it be improving? Felipe Sousa, I don't think will be improving either, nor will his teammate Tyres. Well, Tyres Korsman is only just down on his time. We'll see where Felipe Sousa is in a few moments' time. But looking back at Korsman, is he going to improve in this final sector? It's looking unlikely unless he can pull something special out of the bag. Leonardo Tonelato is going to come up to the line. What sort of time is the Ferrari able to set? He's got a 6.6 at the moment. He goes into the 6.5s and he moves up to P15. But the last gasp effort from Campbell Adams was enough to get the RB pole position.
Runner-up in F4 last season, now heading the field in the second round in season 39 of PSGL. The F3. Definitely going to be a special moment for him. And, well, you're going to see loads of tactics. I mentioned this exact same thing last week, but you're going to see lots of tactics in the race. You're going to see first, second, third, fourth, all switching around. They're all going to switch. They're all going to have their tactics coming into play. But what you have done is already grabbed yourself one extra point. You've got that one secure. And even if you do switch around, you've at least got yourself that 1 point for pole secured. And, well, championship can also be decided with how close it does come down to. It can come down to points. So that is really important if you can secure yourself pole line by 7,000ths of a second. He has done so to Thomas Laminin. But Joseph, how do the rest of the field line up?
Well, Adams and Laminin, as you mentioned, the top two in the field split by just 7/10 of a second. Then it's Hirtala, Presican, Dimas, Lighty, Valentino Labella, Linus Donovan, Oleg Napadovsky, and then Wojciech Steg rounding out the top 10. Napadovsky and Steg ending up with identical times. Salsa and Buba just outside of the top 10 with Ryan Grob, Tyus Korsman, Leonardo Tonelato, Marcel Biega, Jakub Resut, Alexi Cavero, Justin Ertz, and then Jerry Van Bussel on hards for some reason down in P20. But times being set oh so close together. The top two split by 7,000ths of a second. Third and fourth split by just one. And then Napadovsky and Steg matching times as well. We should be in for an incredible... we should be in for an incredible Brazilian Grand Prix if that is anything to go by. We're going to go and get a message first before the race begins from our sponsors at GT Omega. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that the issues have been fixed. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed, that we will be getting this race underway very soon. And what a race it promises to be. The gaps were oh so minuscule between the drivers. And, well, based on that, we should be in for a pretty good race.
Well, all signs point that way, don't they? Absolutely incredible qualifying session, a super close qualifying session, and now it is time for the race. It's time for all of the action to begin. It is always utterly exciting in this tier. There's never been a dull race from this tier with the time that I've been covering this. It's always been exciting. It's always gone down all the way to the end, and there's always something to look forward to, which we absolutely love. And it's a very quick championship with the slightly less rounds compared to what we usually have, meaning the drivers do have to perform very quickly, less time. So if you do want to be the champion of this tier this season, you're going to have to start putting in the results in pretty early.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the results are so important through all the rounds. You've only got, I mean, you've got 2 rounds less. And those 2 rounds could make a whole lot of difference as we head through them now. I mean, it's only round 2 and we're already a fifth, 20% of the way through the season. Imagine that. And then once this season's over, F1 25 is upon us. And hopefully, fingers crossed, the game should be slightly better. Well, I mean, I won't hold my hope out, but hey, you never know. And, well, as I mentioned, you do never know. So F1 is headed for very exciting times, but as we stand at the moment, we've got race day almost upon us, and then we will be getting going here for the Brazilian Grand Prix and for what should be an incredible race. Have we got any predictions, Omi, before we get going?
Well, the only prediction I like to give is it's going to be exciting. That is quite literally all you get in this tier. It's so unpredictable. You don't get, oh yeah, it could be this person, it could be this. But basically, if you want someone, then basically anyone in the top 10, quite literally. That's usually the way it goes. And then you can also get someone outside the top 10. Let's just say we get a safety car coming in. It is just so competitive. But I'm sure the chat will have some predictions definitely ready as well. So do let us know. Do let us know in the live chat what's your thoughts ahead of this race and who you are predicting to take the crown here in the second round of the season. But as we mentioned, exciting races still to come. Spa, China, Austria, Britain, Singapore, Mexico, and then ending under the lights, under the floodlights of Yas Marina, where we will be crowning our season 39 champion, we hope. And it will most likely go all the way through. Hopefully it'll go the distance, and hopefully we're going to have a close fight and we get a great battle at the end, because that's what it really is all about, seeing the amazing, talented drivers, and especially to end off F1 24 on a high and get yourself in a good position before you head over to F1 25. Always a critical thing for these drivers. So it is really great that we've got this season, even if it's a little bit shorter. Great that we still have this taking place, and that we're going to be able to see the stars of the future, basically, putting on a show before we go into the new game.
Yes, stars of the future, as you've mentioned. I mean, we've had drivers come through F3, promoted to F2, and, well, yeah, stars of the future. They certainly are. The likes of Alexi Cavero got promoted this season into F3. And, I mean, drivers like that will be hoping to make their name in this tier before moving up. We are getting readied. We are getting we're posed to get underway. And we are actually loading into the lobby. And fingers crossed this works. If it doesn't work, I will not be a very happy bunny. Let's have a look. Fingers crossed we can get into the lobby. All fine and dandy. Okay, right. You can see we've got eyes and we don't see the little thing saying F1 24 at the top. Right, we will see if this stays. If it doesn't, then I don't know what I'll do. Again, not be very happy. But it's race day upon us, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at a very sunny Brazilian Grand Prix for a race that should be very exciting. It should throw a lot up, and well, if some of the races that I've seen these drivers do in the past around Brazil, if it's any similar to that, it should be a corker.
Absolutely should. So many drivers in the mix. Strategy, safety cars. Quite literally throw everything in there. We just don't know what we're going to get. So this is going to be really, really exciting to watch. We're currently in the pit lane as the drivers load their setups and get their strategies all ready as well. Sort out their field. Get all of the final bits of preparation before basically it is just laps on the limit. Laps of tactics, and hopefully all of the drivers delivering us with fantastic action as they usually do. They never disappoint when it comes to that.
They never ever disappoint. They will just fight tooth and nail from lights to flag, and those lights will be on our screens right now. It's 3, it's 4, it's 5, it's lights, and it's action. We're underway here in Brazil. We got yellow flags out already. We'll find out what that's for in a moment. But Campbell Adams will lead into turn number 1. Thomas Laminen heading through in second place. Tony Hietala coming under pressure from Tudor Pressacan as they head out of the center S's. And it looks as though the Mercedes has taken the position. Looking further back, there's 3 wide moments between a Haas, an Alpine, and a McLaren. That is Donovan Labella. And I think that was Alexander Dimas as well. Dimas getting ahead of Oleg Napadovsky as we head up the hill. It is still a fight at the back of this pack between Ryan Grob and Felipe Sousa, but looking right up back to the top of it as there are sends going on for Labella, for Dimas, and for Linus Donovan. It's a fight now between the 2 Haas cars. Napadovsky and Bella just fighting away. Labella getting out in the lead, but Campbell Adams leads the pack.
Teammates battling in Bahrain last time out. Teammates battling here at Brazil as well. And it continues to get frosty. You have Marcel Biega sending one up the inside. You can see that in the background. And he is up against Ryan Grob, who doesn't want to give it up. As we go on to lap number 2 for our leaders who cut the beam. DRS comes open now. You can still see they're going side by side further back, and that is going to be super tight. Under braking, and it's getting very tight as we have Joey Van Brussel up against Aleski Carrero. Carrero trying to find his way to the F5 champion from last season, even though he didn't compete in half of the races in that tier. He still is the F5 champion, and he still is the driver making the move. We've got plenty of moves going on. We have Hitala in 5th. Donovan is in 6th position as they go side by side into Ferragira, getting super tight on the second tour, still trying to go the long way around. That is brave, absolutely brave stuff from Hitala, who doesn't want to give it up with side by side for second as well. What a race this is turning into immediately, and the tactics that we were talking about are out of the window at this stage. It's all battling, and Campbell Adams has a 1.2 seconds advantage at the front of the field.
It's a dream start for the Aussie man, Campbell Adams, right up the very top. And you got Judah Pressacan and Thomas Laminen scrapping away. So you can imagine that battle is going to mean that the gap to Campbell Adams increases ever more. And this is the opportunity for the RB man to try to break the gap. Although Pressacan has brought it back in and he will have DRS as they head out of the center S's. And the Romanian man will be trying to fight away. Adams did have that gap. But somehow, some way, Pressacan has dragged it back in and has made it back to within 0.3 of a second. He's going to stay behind. There's more fighting, by the way, between the 2 Haas cars, and Wojciech Steg getting involved as well. He gets through on Valentino Labella, but Labella looking to fight back. There was a bit of ghosting there, but that is Napadovsky up into the lead of this one, and this will be the fight for P8, because now Napadovsky losing the DRS to Alexander Dimas ahead. Or Linus Donovan ahead of him even, and Napadovsky needs to fight to get back into it, just as Tudor Pressacan did. But, I mean, these gaps that are opening up, they can be closed oh so easily. We're only on lap 3 of this race, and it's already looking to get tense.
It absolutely is. And I think that was more of a visual glitch actually with the leaderboard, so apologies for that. He was still close, and he's even closer now because it's 2/10 over the line. Does he pull out of the slipstream and go for it to the inside? He'll back out of it. No point going for it at the moment. He'll only switch when it is a clear, easy move that doesn't cost himself and also Campbell Adams' time as we make our way now down towards the fourth turn on this circuit, and getting really, really interesting. Throughout the pack, they're all having battles in all of them. Now, starting to settle in after what was, I think we can say, quite a feisty start, and a feisty start that now continues to deliver action. Pressacan behind Adams, who is your race leader still, as we navigate our way round.
It has, though, thrown up something into the mix. So that's something being the gap between Linus, Donovan, and Booba somehow being oh so big. It is just, it's noticeable. It's light and day between the two. And we will come across the main straight timing beam to see how big the gap actually is. I'd chance it and say that it was at least 2 seconds, if not more. Donovan up to the line now. As there's moves being made for the lead of this race. Tudor Pressacan getting around the outside of Campbell Adams into turn number 1. Thomas Laminen making it just a switch for the top 2. Campbell Adams dropping down to P3. Could be making this move back as they head down to the Cedar de Lago. But he's just not close enough. Look at that straight line speed from Thomas Laminen. Just to defend from Campbell Adams and continue the pressure on Tudor Pressacan as that is yellow flags out. Jerry Van Bussel and Alexi Cavero appear as though they've had some sort of incident. And Cavero 3 seconds off Sousa in the main pack. And Jerry Van Bussel a further 5 back. Tudor Pressacan, though, continuing now to lead this one. This is the first lap that he's been able to steal it off Campbell Adams. And now he has Thomas Laminen for company. Laminen, who has supreme straight line speed. And I'm sure there'll be a move made down the straight. Hietala makes his way past Dimas. That is the move for P5. It was a 2-second gap between Donovan and Booba. I think it might even be increasing, but there could be a move on now here for the lead of this race.
Absolutely. Sending it over the line once again then. And it's getting super, super tight into the braking zone as they all go hyper late on the brakes. But they are still in the same order that they went into. The Senna S, will it be a different story by the time that we get on the anchors next time around? Alexi Carrero, our first retirement of the race, and if I remember correctly, both Ferraris retired last time out in Bahrain, so it's not been going their way, and Jerry Van Bussel also does retire. So that's 2 drivers already out in the opening laps of this contest, as the rest of them get in a position now to settle in. You can see they're all following at close intensity at this stage. That means that you could see a dive bomb all of a sudden coming if a driver right at the tail end of that train like Linus Donovan or Alexander Dimas do want to get involved. And it's a short lap around here, but there is plenty of opportunities to overtake. Often delivers us with some fantastic racing when it comes to the real world, and if it delivers fantastic racing in the real world, it'll absolutely deliver absolutely unbelievable racing when it comes here to the virtual world.
Yeah, because they've just got a little bit more guile about them. They make more gambled moves than they would in real life. And we could be seeing a gambled move maybe into turn 1 here. Campbell Adams sending it down the inside of Thomas Laminen. It doesn't work for him, and he's going to have to sit and wait behind. But that meant that both of them had stunted progress out of the first sector, or out of the first S's. And so they aren't able to launch a real attack on Tudor Pressacan. The gap between Donovan and Booba is now 4 seconds, or 3.8 if you're being pernickety, but that will increase to 4 seconds, I'm sure, some point very soon. So it's a very clear hierarchy here, and it could be disrupted by Tony Hietala looking maybe for a move on Lighty, but sitting behind in P5. But it's the top 7, and then it's the rest of the field, 3.6 or 3.7 seconds back. So these top 7 need to make the most of this opportunity, need to make the most of the fact that there is a large gap between themselves and the cars behind. And at the moment, they're exploiting it to full effect. We're about to move on to lap 8 of this Grand Prix, and we've got a fight on for this race lead.
Absolutely. Once again, can Campbell Adams do anything about it this time around? Last lap, it was a look. This lap, it is just going to be waiting in behind, because you also have to think about and consider what your rival was up to that time around. That's a bit of a compromised line in the background for Lighty. Could that give an opportunity to Tony Hietala as Felipe Sousa sets the fastest tour of the race? We go on board with Campbell Adams, but it's Hietala getting super tight to 4th position, directly in behind. We look off board, and it is still tight between the 2 of them, but it is going to be Hietala moving up, moving past, and that is what a compromised exit after the center S can do, and it means that Lighty down to 5th, Hitala now looking to try and attack Campbell Adams and also the top 2 as well, and that is the switch that we've had this time around on lap number 8.
Yeah, looking further back, Biega and Tonelato Gate. This is absolute carnage. We've got 5 cars within the space of about 2, and that is Oleg Napadovsky leading this group. Leonardo Tonelato losing out to that position, but he got one off of Marcel Biega. Korsman and Valentino Lebeo going side by side behind. It's to the inside for Korsman. It's the exit for Korsman, and it's P14 for Korsman, and he makes that move into P14. We could be seeing Justin Aerts try to move into P15, just rubbing it into Valentino Lebeo, but he does not. We're seeing a switch as well for the lead of this group, as it's now, well, it was going to be Wojciech Steg trying to chase down the leading pack. Instead, it's going to continue to be Buba. We've got Biega and Napadovsky swapping positions again. These drivers had their elbows out on the last lap, but they've just brought them back in, and they are going to be just stabilizing their positions for now. Felipe Sousa gets past Justin Aerts for that P16 though, and this group have now lost just about that DRS to Ryan Grob. So they've got to lock in. They've got to try to get back within range of that top 10. And at the moment, it's looking as though gaps are beginning to form. That group of 8th to 10th, 4.1 seconds now off of Linus Donovan, the rear of the top 7 pack. So it's a little bit like a cycling race. There's pelotons forming, and the top group is a 7-man field.
Indeed. That is right now the state of the race, the top 7 with the gap. And that is sometimes what you want, sometimes what you need, because you're not going to be involved in some of the brawls that we were getting last lap around. And it means that some of the early changes that we had, some of the early laps that we have put the top 7 ahead and everyone else in behind as well in their own personal trains, and that's why they are all getting quite aggressive out there, as they all don't want to sit here. They want to go and try and do their absolute best, but it's going to be such a big margin. Remember, all of these drivers so evenly paced, meaning that 4.6 seconds, it takes quite a bit to come. You really need to be absolutely perfect with the strategy. But with all of the battles going on, it can be definitely quite challenging to navigate your way round as well, as we're basically in Dive Bomb Town over here when we watch all of these drivers who will be frustrated to not be with the leading group that we usually get to see in most races when everything does go to plan in the opening few laps.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see if those groups behind can catch up. We could be seeing 3 wide for the race lead if Thomas Laminen sends it. Not quite. He's going to sit in behind, as is Campbell Adams. Tudor Pressacan just getting the superior exit. And now he's 8/10 ahead. We can be seeing, though, a battle for that P2 as we head down to Desida de Lago. But instead, it's Hirtala making a move on Campbell Adams. And that is for 3rd. Lighty looking for a gap down the inside of Adams, not spotting one, and so is going to sit behind. But these drivers look as though they are preparing for moves. Valentino Lebeo picking up another 3-second time penalty. His pacing quality was quick, but he's not been able to translate it to the race. And a debut race for the TRT man has not come to fruition. We're just watching on board with TTM Lighty as they head now down to the final braking zone of the lap. And then we will be heading to the main straight. Good point. Can we see the tyres? We can now. Everybody is on the hards. So that is just one and done. So the strategy is going to be interesting here today. I've seen hard stretched all the way to a soft stint at the end. Whether these drivers take that gamble or not is another question. But hey, I think this is a race where strategy is going to play massively into it. Which one of these top 7 can play their cards right? And then get up the race, or get up the order. We're a third of the way through now, and Tudor Pressacan continues to lead.
Absolutely. Continuing to lead at the front of the field as we make our way through on the 12th tour around this amazing motorsport facility, and a facility that right now sees PSGL go racing And it is super tight as well for the drivers of Biega, Booba. They're all absolutely pushing each other right now around this circuit. Booba doesn't want to push for any longer. He wants to overtake, and that is exactly what he has done further back. We cut to the battle, and it's super tight. It is super tight. Biega lays on the brakes in the Mercedes. Tornolato sees an opportunity. 3 wide. He's not going to go all the way around the outside of all of them, is he? Oh, how have they kept themselves pointing in the right direction as Tornolato gets ahead. Booba drops down. Biega still in 10th after all of that. And that's exactly what we are referencing to you. You've got the battle at the front, which while they are switching, it is definitely a different approach compared to this brawl that goes on as we head to turn 1.
And that's why there's such a gap between the top few and the rest of the field, I believe. It's because of the fact that they are all scrapping so hard to try to fight for these lower points positions. Speaking of scrapping hard for the lower points positions, Tonelato has managed to hold on to 11th. And this move from Justin X to the inside is for glory, not for points. But he just sits in behind, thinking better of the move. But will we be seeing anybody making a dive bomb into one of these two corners, which are so prone to it? We will. It's Biega to the inside of Napadovsky. He's forced his way through, and Napadovsky forced to sit behind Sausapol to the outside line, but stays behind. But that was Marcel Biega going for a send and making his way up to P number 12, looking back up right up to the top of the field once again. Thomas Laminen could be trying to take the lead of the race as early as this first corner. Pressacan pulls to the inside. Laminen pulls to the outside. Hietala sits behind. Laminen's later on the brakes. And so the Williams will be stealing that P1 away. And the TF10 man sits at the top at the moment. We've seen a swap as well for the final points position. Booba used the DRS down the main straight to get past Leonardo Tonelato as we're having more moves made for the lead of this race. Judah Pressacan and Thomas Laminen side by side. Pressacan pulling ahead. Hietala alongside Laminen for that P2 spot. And that means that neither of them will go for that P1 as we head through the S's. It's Laminen who's been able to beat out Hietala, and it's Pressacan that's been able to beat out the other two.
Well, Pressacan will be enjoying the view that he's got right now at the front of the field. He's dictating the pace. He was not quite a happy driver last time, as he found that all of the other drivers were braking very early, and he wasn't enjoying being at the back of that train, having to kind of brake early with them, which meant that he had to go for some late dive bombs, which of course we thought were late dive bombs at the time, of course, and then he bought some of the analysis at the end of the broadcast in the interviews 1 week ago. But right now he's got the whole field closing on him as we head down into turn number 1, getting super tight, late stuff on the brakes. That's Donovan, that's Dimas, and that's not a lot of margin as we will head onto this second straight around this circuit, getting super tight once again in the battle for second place. But there's so many battles for you, and it's going to be Laminen still in second place. Who's going to come out on top? It'll be Shown the Curve stuff or Linus Donovan. They're still side by side. Will these two keep it going as we head to the fast Ferradura? And we'll go to the fast Ferradura with Dimas still keeping his foot in, but the McLaren driver of Donovan has the possession of P6.
Yes, he's been wanting to take that position for a while as he's been sitting in that P7 spot, just waiting for his opportunity. Now lap 15 is where he pulls the trigger, moves up into place 6, and TTM Lighty will be the next man on his hit list. We are 15 laps through this Grand Prix, almost set to be 16, and this is where drivers will start thinking about their pit strategy. They won't be coming in yet, but they will be thinking lap 18, lap 19, something along those lines is where they make that switch to those mediums, and if they don't, they're going to try and extend the stint to softs. Laminen and Hietala just trying to pile drive their way past Pressacan. Laminen was successful. Hietala will have to wait for the next DRS zone, and the Aston Martin will just sit in behind the DRSs available for both him and Pressacan, and it actually means that Pressacan is going to try to shape up a move on Laminen. He's unsuccessful, but the Mercedes will continue to sit in P2, which is a place which offers you DRS. It's one of those small things that can bring you such a large gain in this lap and in this kind of circuit. And at the moment, Pressacan sitting in that prime position to pounce. Looking back, Marcel Biega is also close to Leonardo Tonelato. We've seen him make a move into the first one of these corners. Does he make a move into the second? No, he's just too far back on Leonardo Tonelato. We'll switch back up to the top of the field. And this could be Pressacan trying once again to steal the lead off of Laminen.
Let's see whether that exact thing will happen as we come over the line once more then onto the 17th tour, very nearly getting to half race distance. They go into formation through 1, 2, 3, you know it better as the Senna S that opens up this lap around this place, and now it is about tucking in the slipstream, seeing if you have the overspeed to get by. If it's the last lap, absolutely. You're tucking out of the slipstream, you're diving to the inside. Lap number 17, different story. It could be a move that leads you dropping down to third, to fourth, to fifth. They're all together. One mistake can be costly, and you don't want to make an unnecessary move that you don't really need at this stage of the contest. Here is Ryan Grubb, and as we've mentioned, you've been seeing different approaches here, and you can see they're also looking for it. You had Biega thinking about the lunge, Tonelato thinking about the lunge. They were both trying to do that in the background as well, and they're very nearly side by side, and there we go. That's the lunge I was talking about. Biega trying to get past Tonelato. Will he be able to do it? He'll be on the outside line. He'll be getting sent out wide. Could there be an opportunity for Brazilians? Felipe Souza as he tries to get the power down. So Tonelato still in 11th, Biega still in 12th, but let's see whether Souza can make the move on the start-finish straight as Pressacan hits the front.
Yes, Pressacan hits the front, and we are seeing the first pit stops of this race. Ryan Grubb and Wojtek Steg coming into the pit. Sousa up into P10 now, holding that inside line into turn 1 on Biega, and could be seeing a move on Tonelato as soon as Desida de Lago. He's right on the rear of him. Pressacan, by the way, did take that lead of the race a couple of corners ago into turn number 1. But Sousa sitting behind Tonelato is not spotting the space, and that could open up the door for Biega, who we've seen make ascent here before. It's rinse and repeat? Yes, it is for Marcel Biega down the inside. He makes the move stick, but Sousa will give him a bit more of a fight than he had on that last lap. And Sousa actually ends up being successful, holding on to that position as contact between Biega and Napadovsky, as Biega's line into the corner was compromised. And Napadovsky on the exit trying to take that position, unsuccessful, but trying nonetheless. Grobensteg and Rosetsut on the last lap came in for mediums, and we're seeing Adams, Lighty and Dimas as well come in for their one and only mandatory pit stop, and that opens up the gap or the fight for the top 4 to just those 4. Pressacan, Laminen, Hitala and Donovan, and well, the order is chopping and changing. It could have been Laminen, but he has ducked back in. They're going to try and preserve these hards because now the undercut has been triggered from Adams, Lighty and Dimas. This is where strategy plays into it.
Yeah, you don't want to do battle. If you're amongst this group right now, the one in your picture for the lead, you have had drivers that have pit early. Okay, they might get a bit of a jump on you. They might get a second gap. It might be 1.2 or something. But you don't want to battle so hard that you just let them go further up the road. You don't want to basically make it harder for yourself, closing in with the fresher tyres. Keep it as minimal as possible. Just use the DRS. That is right now what these drivers want, rather than losing time battling into corners. They'll only go for moves if they really want to be ahead of someone before the pit stop phase. And you can see they were sensible that time around, because they all come into the pit lane, and with a bit of fresher tyres, with a bit of fresher boots, they will go on and push to try and close in. But now let's see where these guys all filter out.
Yeah, we'll see as Buba comes down the main straight. He will take the lead of this race, but we're more interested in the race between the Mercedes, the Williams and the Aston Martin pit stops, and the McLaren as well, versus Campbell Adams, who now moves up into P7, and Wojtek Steg taking the fastest lap of this Grand Prix, showing that those mediums are quick, but are they quick enough? Campbell Adams comes out in the lead. Tudor Pressacan appears to be pulling out in P number 4. Indeed he is. And the Mercedes man has a 1.3 second gap that he needs to bridge to Alexander Dimas as soon as he possibly can. Otherwise, it's going to be those 3 that run away with it. The undercut has been successful for Adams, Lighty and Dimas, and now they hold the provisional lead of the race. That is when the top 6 come into the pit and make that switch. Buba and Felipe Sousa and Marcel Biega, they have gone for the overcut strategy, as have Napadovsky, Korsman and Labea. And we will see whether it becomes successful. They come down the main straight Is Booba going to pull the trigger, or is he going to go out even longer? He is going to come in. Are they all going to come in? No, they're not. That is Felipe Sousa, Marcel Biega, and Oleg Napadovsky that continue on as Booba. Any attempt of an overcut has been squandered as he now picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Dimas, fastest lap of the Grand Prix while sitting in P7. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix while sitting behind Lighty and Adams. That shows the pace of these three TTM drivers. And they are just going to continue to try to work together to try to build a gap to Thomas Laminen. At the moment, it is 1.6 seconds, and here Tyler feels as though he can go faster. He sits behind, though, because he doesn't feel as though the move is now, but he is just going to sit behind, waiting for the opportunity. It could be as soon as here. Ascend if he's feeling confident enough. He's not, and he's going to sit behind. This is a crucial point in the race. Laminen, Hirtala, Pressakan, and Donovan need to act now.
They do indeed. We are on the 21st tour of 36 as these guys continue to navigate their way round this incredible circuit that runs to 15 corners, with the final two basically being flat to the floor. You're seeing them make their way through that part of the circuit now, and you are taking a look at some of the net leaders, and we have more and more drivers pushing on to try gain on them as we do battle into turn number 1, and it's Lighty who will take over the net race lead. Dimas is it going to be in a net second, and then it will be Campbell Adams as Hirtala and that group try and close in as we now make our way once again towards the 4th turn around this venue. Horseman, the final driver, who is yet to come in to make the pit stop, and when he does so, this will be for the official lead.
Yeah, Tyus Korsman has now done 21 laps on hards. It'll be minimum 22 if he comes into the pit at the end of this lap, and he is losing time after time. He entered that corner 3.4 seconds ahead of Lighty. He's exited it 3.1 seconds ahead. So it's just going to be, it's going to be a matter of time. He's going to either need to get out of the way or dive into the pit lane if he doesn't want to cause too much trouble and actually ruin his own race in comparison to the likes of Lighty and Dimas. By the way, Tony Hirtala has bridged that gap. He's made it back to within DRS as they reach the detection point. And so I think he's going to have DRS down that main straight. That won't affect this battle, though. Dimas, Campbell Adams and Lighty seeing it as beneficial for them to fight for this race lead at this point in time. Dimas holds onto it. Wojciech, Steg and Grob continue their battle that they've had throughout the race. Steg moves up into P9. Booba moves past Tonelato into P11. And this is a whole separate fight. It's now 5.2 seconds between Steg and Linus Donovan ahead of him. And the top 7 have once again formed a pack.
Absolutely, they have indeed. These guys all coming up to Korsman, who is stretching this stint out absolutely incredibly long. A PCF 5 champion from a couple of seasons ago, and that was on the F1 23 game as well. And right now on F1 24 in the final season of the game before, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that we go over to F1 25. It is game on at the front here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, as we come over the line. Now, DRS will be dished out to Dimas because he is behind Korsman at this stage, who is going to continue on and will bring us on to lap number 24. But you've got drivers on fresher tyres who will all be trying to get past. So this is going to get really interesting. Where you pass is going to be critical. They'll need to do it now. DRS open. So we're going to see it. Campbell Adams also followed through as well. And Korsman is just going to get out of the way, slow down. So he's going to let them all go through as Oleg Napadovsky does retire. No point for Korsman to fight, but in case he did, it was vital for these drivers to get by, and they were all able to do so. So as battle resumed, battle continued, and nothing's been affected for our top 7 at this stage.
Yeah, the gladiators continue to go to war here in Brazil, and with 12 laps left to go in this race, it's Alexander Dimas right up the top of the standings. Campbell Adams just sitting behind, and it's actually a TTM 1, 2, 3. They will be fighting though ever harder because this is not a team event. This is PSGL, and they will be getting the DRS down the back straight. It's Alpine to RB to Kick Sauber as we head down the straight, and it's, well, Adams doesn't even need to take that line and to take that DRS because he's already holding the lead. Lighty takes P2, Dimas and Hitala scrapping over P3 with Laminin and Pressakan. They were once fighting for the race lead, but they went for the overcut, and they are now fighting for 5th and 6th. Dimas and Hitala side by side. This could be 3 wide. There's 4 drivers trying to fit into a space, and in the end, it's going to be Laminin who comes out on top of Dimas and Pressakan. Pressakan, who I think made contact with somebody. There was a little bit of wheel spin for him off of the exit of Desida de Lago, but the Mercedes now does sit in P6. He didn't have enough wheel spin to drop him behind Linus Donovan in P7, but the McLaren has been waiting all this time, so you would think that with 11 laps to go, this is where he starts to try to scythe his way through the top 6. He's had the pace to keep up with them so far. Now he needs to take it out of gear 3 and up into 4th gear.
Absolutely. Here we go then. Once again, you've got Linus Donovan, has been playing the waiting game so far, and now these drivers will want to push on. Now they'll want to go on the attack. Talking about the attack, your new race leader is Lighty as he hits the front of the field. Easy pass with DRS. Will it be the same story though when we battle for 5th and 6th position, as Dimas will get the chance to fight back as we go on to the straight? Let's see who will be dishing out the overtakes. Campbell Adams heading back to the race lead when he gets on the brakes, and the rest of them will be in single file. Pressakan still ahead of Dimas. But you're gonna see the drivers at the back end of this train, and that goes for any train, try and forge a way through, because they need to be at least back in the top 3 if they want any chance on the last lap. They need something absolutely wild, like there to be a collision or something, for them to get the chance otherwise. So you are going to see a bit of action. You are going to see a bit of shuffling in these battles, but they need to do that nicely and tactically without losing time and letting some of the drivers at the front run away.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opportunity now for those drivers to try to fight forward, but they don't want to take too much of a gamble and then it not pay off. Adams and Lighty scrapping away into turn number 1. Lighty with that DRS and with that P1. Hitala looking maybe for the inside line, trying to force a mistake out of Campbell Adams. He has been unsuccessful, and Adams will continue to sit in P number 2. They'll head now down out of the center S's down the straight, and Adams shaping the inside line. Now is tucking in, and it's Hitala shaping the inside line of Adams, maybe of Lighty as well, but he stays sitting in P2 for the time being, because a send there would have been silly, considering Lighty was already turning for the corner. He wouldn't have seen or been able to avoid Hitala, and then there would have been contact between the two, and then those drivers behind would have fought their way through. We would have been seeing maybe Campbell Adams leading, and then Linus Donovan up into P4. Don't know why I've chosen those two as the examples, but you get the point. We're going to head now through to the final corner for the 27th time, and we will be heading to the 28th lap of this Grand Prix. By the way, impressive stuff. The top 7 staying within DRS all this time, then 8th to 16th in DRS as well, with Jakub just outside in P17. Lighty and Hitala going side by side. It could be Campbell Adams using that slipstream to get through as well. Lighty's going to fight him a little bit harder, but he's going to have nothing in comparison, and Adams moves his way up into P number 2, and Hitala making his way up to P number 1. Tyus Korsman, with one of the most random strategies we've seen for a while, has now decided to retire, and he will not be taking any further part in this Grand Prix. Laminin making a move on Lighty. He's up into P3. The Williams man just seizing the opportunity on the kick Sauber, and he will now be sitting in one of the podium positions, as that's a send. Who was that? That was Tudor Pressakan trying to go for a move on Lighty, but just doesn't have the grip around the outside.
Absolutely. Korsman went for the strategy, hoping for some form of safety car. It didn't go his way, so he is going to become our 4th retirement of this race. And the sole remaining Red Bull now in the field, Felipe Sousa, moves up to 12th, but we're understandably watching this train at the front, because as we've mentioned, especially for the drivers at the back end of this train, it's about to get very interesting. And immediately as we open DRS, we come over the line, and you've got the Mercedes on the charge. Pressakan trying to go through. Can he do it? Under braking happening. The kick Sauber could get boxed in possibly as the Mercedes does move up, and Tador Presekan up to P4. He's a driver who would have been fuming about last week from going from 1st to 11th after penalties. He'll want to get back up there today, and he'll hope that this time it's for keeps as Lighty drops another place, and this time moving up is Donovan as Boober drops down. Disappointment for Boober as we cut to the Aston Martin. Looks like he's had some issues in the opening of lap number 29.
Yeah, it just looks like he might have maybe made contact or just lost it himself out of the center S's. And that means that the FVR man is out of contention, which is a shame because the pace he was showing wasn't ultimately too bad and he should have been on for a good fight for that P8 spot. Alas, he will sit down in P15 with his teammate Hitala up in the lead of this group at the top as we head on to what will be lap 30 of this Grand Prix. We've only got 6 laps left of this race. We're ticking it away, and we're ticking it away faster and faster. Adams 5/10 behind Hitala. Laminen just a 10th behind Adams, and he could be trying to shape up a move into turn number 1. No, he's trying to force a mistake at this point in time. You want to be sitting in that P2 spot. Campbell Adams is in prime position as we head down to Desida de Lago. He could be pulling to the inside line. He's going to try and force another mistake out of Hitala to no avail. And he will continue to sit in P number 2. There's a fight further back. It's more carnage in the mid-pack. And it's going to be 3 wide. Salsa, Grob and Steg. And that is Salsa coming out on top. What a move from the Red Bull man. And that is a fight now. Marcel Biega trying to go past Wojciech Steg, trying to make the Sauber's day just go that little bit worse. Trying to make the Sauber's lap go a little bit worse. But he hasn't been successful. He has another go down the inside. But, I mean, turn left to go right isn't exactly what you do in a Formula 1 car. And Wojciech Steg holding on to the position. It's another sendo from Biega, possibly. No, it's a send on him by Tonelato. But he just doesn't have the grip to pull that one off on exit. Switching back up to the battle for the lead. Hitala continues to lead. He's pulled out 5/10 once again to Campbell Adams as they head down the straight. Lap 31 is what we're on to now. Campbell Adams he doesn't have that straight line speed of the Aston Martin, and that's just where Hitala is able to just maintain that advantage at the top.
Absolutely. It is getting super tight. Further back, getting super tight at the front. Late lunge, attempted by Presekan. Can he pull it off? This is a critical move to try and get himself up to third position. We are heading to Ferradura. How brave is Presekan going to be? He had to sit in behind. He's got another opportunity. Can he find the line and try get through around the next few couple of corners? And it's some braking zones coming up for him, but he's had to take a little step back after following very closely to Thomas Laminin. So he'll try and regroup and go again on the next lap that we are heading into, where there'll be a bit more DRS. But you have to think about how much battery are you prepared to deploy, and all of the thinking, all of the preparation for the 36th and final lap that goes on for these drivers. As let's see who is going to be able to make any moves. It's going to be Presekan actually under pressure. Donovan wants the place. Donovan will get the place as he goes the long way round. And he was so late on the brakes. Right now there was Presekan that he really nearly got back past as well. But Donovan has 4th as we run once again towards turn number 4. And these guys all in a train on the 32nd lap. It's going to be some final lap, but we still have a couple of laps till we get to that point for these guys to all get themselves into the position, and then we're going to work out who is going to get the 16 points for the win.
It's going to be such a good final lap, but we've still got a few to go, and I think we're going to get a few sprinkles of spice in there before that final lap occurs, with Tony Hitala continuing to lead here in Brazil, and he's just got a few more laps to try to hold on. We have battles further back. Justin Etz trying to fight his way into the points positions. He's going to send it down the inside of Wojciech Steg. What a time to switch to the RB man. And he is going to try to hold it around the outside. It's not going to be easy for him, but what a send that was into the final corner. Braking oh so late, but taking that position off of Steg. And he's up into P11. His next target, Ryan Grob. But our next target is to watch those in the lead. They've had 1 DRS straight, which means Adams has been able to close back in. Also means that Laminen has been able to close in on Adams. Adams doesn't have that straight line speed, and so Laminen takes advantage. The Williams moves up into P2, and his sights will be set on Hitala as we head now. Lap 33 of this Grand Prix, 33 and a half if we're being specific. And Wojciech Steg, despite having that pace in the early stint and in the early part of this one, has just completely fallen off, as that is Pressakan and Donovan fighting away once again. Donovan trying to get the grip on the outside, but Pressakan just having enough to pull it off, to pull his way up into P number 4. And this battle will wage on. It's 7 drivers who've been in contention since the first lap. Somehow, they're still in it, and we've only got 3 to go.
Absolutely fair play, we have to say, for Felipe Sousa to break clear of the drivers behind as well and just be by his own with a bit of peace till the checkered flag. He won't be able to interrupt any of this battling unless these guys have a bit of major drama near the end. But you are going to see Sousa just trying to cruise home to that 8th position and pick up any pieces that are left in this group. This group debating the race lead. We're going to go on to the penultimate lap next. Then it'll be the final tour. Hitala trying to go back to back when it comes to victories. Labella's had a moment around this circuit. Once again, that is on the exit of the Senna S, but we cut back to the leaders because it's getting so tight. Pressakan looking for the move. Pressakan did go for the dive bomb. That was a late lunge. We saw it in the background. We thought it was only a look, but it was the whole full move complete, and immediately Campbell Adams will want to try and get it back. As here we go then. We navigate our way through, and we're about to go on to the penultimate tour of this race. Let's see how they position themselves this time around.
Yeah, we will see how they position themselves this time around. It's Hitala who holds that prime position, but Laminen will have the first dibs on that DRS as they head down the main straight. He closed it down from 4 to 2 tenths to just a 1/10 and a half, but it's not quite close enough to make that move. I'm sure he's going to sit behind in P2, meaning that he's going to get that final dose of DRS on the final lap of this Grand Prix, the Williams. Is he going to make this move? It's an interesting strategy call. Is this the time? No. Laminen stays behind. He will be suffering from pressure, though, from the likes of Pressakan and Adams behind. It's oh so close as we head to lap 36. I can't call it, but it's fair to say that they would all fully deserve it.
They all would absolutely deserve this moment if they are able to get to the top step, to follow so closely for so long, and then also wait for this moment and get it. Oh, there's a moment. We have Laminen into the back of Hitala. It gives an opportunity to Pressakan to go the long way around. Will he be able to get there? Hitala trying to break clear. A dramatic moment here on the penultimate tour. We knew there was going to be more twists and turns, and there is one of the moments. Can Laminen close in the gap as we run down the start-finish straight, about to go on to the 36th and final tour here at Brazil? Is it going to be Hitala? Is it going to be Laminen? Closing in, going for the move down into the center Hess, and it's going to be Thomas Laminen who takes the lead. He'll be the leader ahead of Hitala, who will surely try and fight back. He's going to get one more DRS zone, and you can see Laminen knows it. He's trying to break the toe, going from left to the right, and it's going to be Laminen who will surely maintain the position. The last chance could be a drag race to the line for Hitala.
It could be a drag race to the line for Hitala, or it could be a huge scrap. It's going to be the top 2 surely in contention now, with Pressakan 9 tenths behind and a fight still going on between Donovan and Dimas. It's Dimas to the outside, Donovan to the inside. Who's going to come out on top? It's still undecided as we head through the second sector. Dimas trying to hold on. Is he going to be successful? Still undecided. They are now dropping massively off the top group. They have decided their battle is for P5 and P6 today. And it's Dimas late on the brakes out of the final corner that looks to have decided it. But it's Donovan early on the throttle out of the final corner, and he will take that position. It's a drag race to the line, though. Can Laminen hold on? It's going to be a tight battle, and it's Hitala who comes out on top by under a 1/10 of a second, under a half a 1/10 of a second. Tony Hitala takes victory here in Brazil, ahead of Thomas Laminen, beating him to the post. Pressakan and Lighty 3rd and 4th, with Dimas and Adams 5 and 6. Donovan dropping behind Adams at the end into 7th place, but Adams will have been hoping for so much more than it's Sousa Et and Marcel Biega rounding out the grid. But for Tony Hitala, it was really, really on edge, right up to the line, and it was the Aston Martin that came out on top today.
Back-to-back wins for Tony Hitala. He lost The drag race to the line on circuit last time. This time around, he's done it. This time around, he is the winner. And all of the hard work gone in now can be forgotten. And it's all going to be celebrations until we get to Spa for Hitala, who has now won the opening 2 races of the season. And as I mentioned, there was a drag race to the line for the win in Bahrain. That included Hitala. It's included Hitala once again, and this man is showing that he is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to this championship battle. He definitely is going to take some beating with the way that he has kicked off season 39. Back-to-back wins is not what you usually see to start of a season here in PSGL, but Hitala is performing and he is delivering quite a bit this season. The driver that is a returning driver to this category. 19th he finished last season. He's definitely putting in the prep, and he definitely wants this season to be his.
Yeah, who said that Hitala wasn't quick enough for F2? Whoever that was lying. He has taken victory here today in Brazil, and he will take a hefty championship lead off of the back of that. So confirmation of the order then, if you didn't hear it already, it's the 2 Finns, 1 and 2, Hitala and Laminen, with Tudor Presagan in front of Romania in third. Then it's TTM Lighty Dimas before the Australian Campbell Adams. Then it's Donovan Sousa, Etz and Marcel Biega rounding out the top 10. Beyond that, it's Grob, Steg, Tonelato, Zetset, Buba, and Valentino Labella will be our final classified finisher before Tyus Korsman, Oleg Napadovsky, Jerry Van Bussel, and Alexi Cavero, our final finish, or our final classified driver in total. He didn't end up being classified in terms of the race, but he is the man in P20, but the man in P1. Tony Hitala, he deserved that win. And, well, what an incredible race we had on our hands. If only it was longer, eh?
Absolutely. So, how about that? Do stick with us, of course, as we just analyze and wrap up here as well. And then we have a redirect that is set up, and that will take you straight over to the F2 stream in time for their race. So, do stick with us as we wrap this up. And we wrap up what has been an extraordinary round once more. Spa, China, Austria, Britain, Singapore, Mexico, Abu Dhabi are the rounds still to come in what is looking to be another brilliant championship. But a question now, and that is going to be answered over the next few rounds. That is, can anyone stop the Hitala Express?
I mean, well, we'll have to wait and see. It will be a very, very interesting end of the season. And, well, I say end of the season. We are now 20% of the way through, which means we've got 80% of the season to go. Quick interview with the third place man, Tudor Presacan, who claims he needs to go. We'll see how quickly he does indeed need to go. So, Tudor, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Beautiful. Just give us a little debrief on how you feel that race went for yourself personally.
I mean, I started very well, getting like 1 position at the start, then another 2 actually after like 2 laps. I led the whole first stint, so yeah, wasn't too bad. On the second stint, I could have won, but I got pushed wide by some guy in behind, and yeah, that fucked my chances to win basically.
And well, we saw lots of scrapping away. Do you think that if there was just that little bit less scrapping, do you think you would have been able to fight for that victory?
Yeah, for sure.
Omi, have you got any questions?
Well, I'm not going to ask a question, as I know you have to go, Presacan, but congratulations, and we hope to see you once again joining us here in the commentary box next time out at Spa.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you, Tudor, for joining us, and apologies if you were offended by any of the language used by Tudor in that, but we'll move swiftly on to the man who finished second place in that race. Thomas, can you hear us?
I can.
Wonderful. Just give us a little debrief. How do you think that race went for you?
From the quali, from the race only, or both.
Sorry?
Okay. Do you want the quali also?
All of it.
Or the... Okay. Yeah, quali was decent. You know, it wasn't my PP, but it was still enough for P2 by like 7,000. So that was nice. Then the race was really good. First stint, I just managed P2 behind, was it Tudi? I think so, yeah. And I think the pit lap was maybe not optimal, but I made the fresh tires work against the older ones, and yeah, then just lost the win by like I don't know how much. That was unlucky.
Well, I
And yeah,
can
that was it.
I can tell you it was 0.023 seconds is
Yeah.
what you missed out on that victory by. Just a quick question, because we know that the races are never normally done before they're over. Do you think there's any opportunity that you do take this victory, whether it's a penalty for Tony, something like that?
I don't know for Tony because I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't see him all race apart from the last few laps. So yeah, I think for Tudor and Campbell there may be some penalties, but don't know about Tony.
You got any questions, Omi?
Well, quickly, of course, on the last lap, and going more into detail about the drag race that we had to the line. Of course, you got the move done early on in the lap, down at turn number 1. Were you expecting that he would have? Were you expecting that Tony Atala would have had enough overspeed to get you by the line, or did you expect that you would have been able to just about hang on?
I think from the last corner, like the exit, he actually had his overtake button on, so he got like a slide, and I get like 1/10, and I thought like you know, like this is it, I'm gonna win this one now. But then I ran out of, like I went under 10% ERS, like way too soon, and I lost so much power, and he got me because of that.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thomas, for joining us this evening. Well done on your P2. Fingers crossed that you were able to take that P1. But hey, no bias at all. But yes, thank you very much, Thomas, for your time.
Thanks.
Don't know why I left the comms box there, but there we go. That was, we got brief words with our third place and our second place, Tudor and Thomas. We won't be seeing Tony tonight. He's not responded to the ping. So for the FVR fans in chat, sorry. Have we got any other final thoughts, Omi, before we round off?
Well, I'd first of all like to apologise once again for all of the technical issues, not just for the ones that we had in qualifying, but also for the ones we had in qualifying last, because it seems like qualifying this season are cursed, which is not what we want. It's not what we want, but we really do want to apologise for that first of all. We of course both all of us want to bring you incredible coverage of this tier, because it's absolutely goes down all the way to the end, and these drivers put in the hours of practice to put on a show. We don't want to ruin that show at all. So yes, hopefully everything will be back to normal next week as well. But yes, thank you to yourself, Joseph, for coming in and filling in today with us, and hopefully we will see you back soon as well, and best of luck with F5 for the rest of the season. That's where you'll be able to catch Joseph, and F2 is currently also taking place. The stream is automatically going to redirect you to that, so you can just stay where you are, let Joseph wrap up, and then we'll automatically send you over to the F2 stream. And also, just to quickly mention, a huge thank you to our sponsors, our amazing sponsors at GT Omega, which make everything possible.
Yes, and I mean, if something lower tickles your fancy, we will have F4 on there. But yeah, F2 is going to be probably the race that you fancy going to watch next. Just to give you a roundup, Leo Lund stole that pole position off of the two V-carbs in qualifying. So make sure to join to watch the race, because it looks as though it's going to be a spicy one. We will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.